Good morning. A few months back, about 3 months back, President Trump took an oath of the office of the President of USA, and the first thing he did was to remove USA from the negotiations on TPP, that is the Trans-Pacific Partnership. This was an agreement initiated by President Obama that there should be closer trade and economic relationship between 12 countries of the Pacific Rim. And Canada was very anxious to join that as well. And the primary reason was that the 87% of the Canadian trade is the USA. So Canada's desire to join TPP was natural. However, it has very minimal trade relationship with the other Pacific countries, but it's necessary to enhance that relationship. Nobody can deny it. Now the question arises that once US leaves TPP, is there anything left? Well, opinions can differ, but today in Toronto, at the initiative of France, which is not a Pacific country, and Canada, all the 11 members of TPP minus USA are meeting in Toronto to discuss how to proceed further. This meeting is a precursor to the meeting to be held later on to decide the issues. It's a very important meeting. And I was very happy when I came to know that Justin Trudeau has taken an initiative for the first time as a Prime Minister. The government of Canada took an initiative that could have been useful. But is it going to be really useful? Let's examine it. A. Countries like France, who are now attending, never had any relationship and they were not major partners in TPP. Realizing that Canada doesn't have that much of capability to lead TPP as US said, Canada is developing cold feet. Do you know the latest? The joke. The joke is that now Canada is asking Japan to hold the baton, to be the leader. This is possibly for the first time in the history of civilized world that a country which calls itself a member of G8 is relinquishing its seat of power to another country without batting an eyelid. Why? Now, what shall be the result of this discussion? Let's see that. Let's analyze it. The basic factor that is being ignored is that all the effort to revive TPP are flogging a dead horse. The primary agreement that was reached by President Obama and 11 other countries of Pacific Rim was that the agreement will take in effect when only those countries having 80% of the GDP, 85% of the GDP, approve of it. Out of that 85%, USA was a country with 60% GDP, which was to approve of it. Now when USA is withdrawing, so 60% is gone. The balance left is 25%. So the ab initio, right from the beginning, the agreement becomes invalid. It has no legs to stand upon. So what's to be done? The various scenarios that emerge are, the first one, since the GDP of the other countries does not come up to 85%, since US has withdrawn, the agreement has to be started again. All the discussions have to start again. That means the last 2 years of discussions go waste. They have to go back to the original table, sit down and decide the quantum of GDP. That's the first thing. Now when that is decided, countries like Japan, South Korea and China would come and play a major role. So Canada would be relegated to those countries which are marginal, which are not important. Second part, Philippines is a major Pacific Rim country, and there is a resurgence of anger and resentment against President Duterte. It's not justified. Duterte has taken a mission, a crusade, to finish up the drug problem in that country. And in that pursuit, he is killing the drug dealers, the dealers of death. In a very original manner, he's ordered his law and order agencies to liquidate them, to kill them. Reports say that he has killed about 7,000 people. So that has made the human rights watchdogs worry of that man, and there is resentment against his actions. But TPP without USA and without Philippines would be like the proverbial Hamlet without the Prince of Denmark. It was exactly like the correspondents' dinner at White House last Saturday without the president. It loses its soul, it loses its meaning. Second, is it viable for these 11 countries to come to a decision per se? The nationalistic tendencies, the trade needs, the economy requirements are contradictory. Now imagine in the auto sector, Canada competes with South Korea and Japan. So how can they have an agreement which protects all the three countries as far as the auto sector is concerned? In dairy sector, Canada has antagonistic, opposing values, needs, principles. As far as New Zealand is concerned, their interests are in conflict, and that conflict of interest would not make them take an action which can protect the dairy industry of both the countries. So, the fact of being is that when US was there, it had a pervasive effect and it was the unifying factor. Because the largest consumer in the world today is USA. Let's not deny it. And with the largest consumer having gone out, TPP becomes lifeless. The blood has left, the soul has left, and you're trying to revive a patient who is in a state of coma. The third scenario can be bilateral agreements which have always been promoting. You remember that when last time Obama had approved TPP and agreed for TPP, even at that time I had said that Canada doesn't need TPP. Canada needs bilateral relationship with countries like Japan, Philippines, New Zealand, South Korea, Vietnam and others, and China of course. Now imagine it, if we have a bilateral relationship, the conflicting areas of trade, as in auto in South Korea and Japan, would not be germane to the agreement or disagreement. The dairy industry would not be a stumbling block, as far as New Zealand and Canada is concerned. Lumber would not be a factor of dissension and disagreement between Canada and Philippines. So, Canada needs not be inheritor of something which it originally should not have done. But then, who will tell these politicians? Justin Trudeau has a desire to create a halo around his head of being the world leader. He can be world leader in different ways. In having the largest number of the ministers who are on the no-fly list of the other countries. I'm joking, of course, but then that's a fact. You need to understand your USP, unique selling proposition, and then exploit it. Following the beaten track is a sure sign to perdition and to hell. Now come to another fact. Suppose you agree on the various aspects, and yet the expansionist designs of China would definitely be in conflict with South Korea because China supports North Korea. And South Korea is an anathema to North Korea. So they cannot exist together. USA was a cementing factor. But with Trump saying goodbye to TPP, that cementing factor is out. Come to the next point. On the one side, countries like Canada adopt a very attitude holier than thou. We are pure, we are honest, we are concerned with the human rights. But here they will have to shake hands with President Duterte, whom Trump has invited incidentally to White House, and there's a howl of protest from all over. So, how would you reconcile your pretensions of being protectors of human rights by shaking hands with a person like Duterte, who is reviled, rebuked, and criticized all over by the human rights groups? But once you are in TPP, you have a closer relationship, you have a kinship with Duterte, and that you cannot say goodbye. So, even if you gain something economically, you are losing a lot politically. You know, any agreement has to have different connotations: political, economic, social. And here TPP is going to be a center of conflict with different countries as far as the economy is concerned, and with different countries for social and humanitarian aspects are concerned. And I think it was very sensible of India at that time to steer clear of TPP. Obama even wanted Modi to join it. He's saying that, okay, you're not far off from Pacific. But Modi said, no, we will not like to be. And we have very good relationship at developing with Japan. We have extremely good relationship in India with South Korea. Why couldn't, if Modi could listen to what I'm saying, what hinders Justin Trudeau from not listening? At least listen and think about it. But the government of Canada seems to be obsessed with doing everything anti-Trump, even if it harms its interests. And that is a sure way to loss. You cannot cut an umbilical cord with USA. You are dependent on them so much, and your economies, your social lives are so intertwined that whether you like the incumbent in the White House or not is immaterial. You have got to ensure that you continue working in tandem with them. And when you don't work in tandem with USA, you are in fact act against your own interest. In today, would not result in any tangible definitive results. And you know it, what happens? When nothing happens, a joint declaration, a joint communique is issued with all the platitudinous talk, it was good, we'll have the next meeting. Fine. But really it means nothing. Until and unless government of these 11 countries can transcend their national interest and think in the Pacific region as a zone of an economy zone independent by itself, TPP minus USA simply doesn't exist. And Canada's role might be lauded today, but it's a precursor to its being criticized for not being far-sighted. Well, take it as you like it. But Canada is a country under this government which takes interest in getting itself smiled at, laughed at, and people take it very lightly. I hope that the government, with the excellent ministers of the finance, may not be as good, but I have a high regard for Mr. Morning. He is one of the best, but the political considerations are overweighing the other considerations, and that's a tragedy. Let's not worry about maintaining a facade and come to the grips with the reality. That's a need today. Thank you.